Shanks the Untouchable, among all the characters in One Piece, Shanks remains the most enigmatic. He is a Yonko, but he avoids wars. He is a pirate, but he is respected even by the Navy. He has connections to Gorosei, but protects Luffy, the bearer, of the greatest threat to the world government. How is it possible for a character to represent so many paradoxes? The answer may lie in something much bigger. Not in a power plan, but on a plan of global disruption. What if Shanks always knew what he was doing? What if the real reason for delivering Nika's fruit to fate was part of an even deeper plan? The fruit that wasn't meant to be. The Hito. No Me fruit. Model Nika, as revealed in Egghead, it's not a Gomu. She is a mythical Zoan, one of the most dangerous for the world government. It was kept in absolute secrecy for centuries. Transported, under special escort by Cypher Paul, and mysteriously stolen by Shanks. But here's the gist of the theory. Shanks didn't just steal the fruit, he let her be eaten by Luffy. On purpose. He knew that that fruit could not be given to just anyone. Someone with the right spirit was needed. With the right laugh, with the right will. Someone with the D. The D. The catalysts of the world. The will of D is, from the beginning, of the work, the greatest unrevealed mystery. All who bear this name have defied authority. All of them, without exception, caused imbalances. Gol D. Roger started the pirate era. Monkey D. Dragon has declared war on the world. Port Gas. D. Ace made the government move forces to stop him. Marshal D. Teach killed a Whitebeard commander and forced Marineford. And Monkey D. Luffy is shaping the new world. The D is, essentially, the storm. The change that the ancient world tries to contain. And Shanks, who was standing next to Roger, the greatest wielder of the D, understood that. And more than that, understood that the storm cannot be stopped. She needs to be guided. The encounter with Gorosei, one of the most enigmatic moments in the manga, was when Shanks entered Mary Jawa's to speak with the five elders, and he said, "I came to talk to you about a certain pirate." This moment divided the community. Some thought it was about Teach, others about Luffy. But what if it's about both? And if Shanks, far from snitching, was giving time to the world government, warning that the storm was coming? Because he knew what was about to awaken. Luffy. The premeditated choice. We return to Luffy as a child, a rebellious boy with an absolute spirit of freedom, thirsty for adventure, with empathy for others, with something different in his eyes. Shanks watched him, protected him. He had Roger's hat on, and he carried the most dangerous fruit in the world. The meeting of the two was not a coincidence. This theory suggests that Shanks actively sought an heir to D, someone who carried the same glow that Roger had, and by leaving the fruit within Luffy's reach. By not trying to prevent, Shanks started the Nika's second era, and with it, the downfall of the world government, Teach, the D that cannot be erased. Here comes the most surprising element of the theory. Marshal D. Teach, the biggest antagonist of the current work. The man who stole fruit, killed companions, and manipulated wars. A D who seems to invert the essence of freedom, seeking absolute power. So why didn't Shanks ever eliminate him? Shanks himself, during the meeting with Whitebeard, warns about Teach. It's not just his strength, it's what he represents. If Shanks sees him as a threat, why leave him alive? The answer is frightening, because he is part of the plan. What if Shanks' real plan is to let the DS free to clash with each other, creating the storm that will shake the Red Line, topple the government, and bring about the new world, be it by Luffy's light or by the darkness of Teach? The current era will not survive the fury of the D, the heir of light, the heir of darkness in. Part 1 of this theory, we saw that Shanks, by allowing Luffy to eat the Nika fruit, ushered in a new era, an era in which the DS would once again be the center of the world. But there is something even deeper. Shanks didn't just free the sun god Nika, he too preserved the darkness. By sparing Blackbeard, even knowing the risk, Shanks allowed two polar opposites of D, Luffy and Teach, survive and grow until they reach the pinnacle of power. D2 destinations, two instruments of the same destruction. This theory proposes that the world needs the clash between them, not to decide who is right, but so that, in the process, the current system is broken. Shanks is not trying to avoid war. Shanks is driving to war, the premeditated collapse. The world government doesn't fear the name D for nothing. The records of the Void Century and the poneglyphs indicate that an ancient, powerful civilization was erased by the alliance of the 20 kingdoms, the predecessors of the current Tenryubito. This civilization may have been guided by Joy Boy, and Joy Boy, according to the mythology of the mythical Zoans, is the bearer of the Nika no Mi, the warrior of liberation, logo, when Luffy awakened his fruit. The government realized that the cycle was repeating itself, but it wasn't the only cycle. Teach, as a non-standard D, is the anomaly that corrupts everything the world government has tried to keep stable. Shanks. Shanks knew this. That's why he meets with the Gorosei, not to ask for protection, but perhaps to say, "You have little time. The DS have already started moving, and you won't be able to stop them." Shanks. The keeper of the scales. Instead of being a straight player, Shanks behaves like the guardian of the scales. Think about his track record. He never starts wars. Interrupted the confrontation between Kaido and Whitebeard. Prevented the war from continuing in Marineford. He has high-ranking influence, but he does not act like a king. Shanks always positions himself between the extremes, balancing the forces. But now, he is releasing the extremes, because maybe he understands that the world needs to break to be redone, and this can only happen when the light and darkness of the D collide with everything, the prophecy of the D and the end of the world. This theory is also based on the idea that D are not random individuals. They are descendants of a lineage that was erased from history, a free, rebellious people at odds with the imposed order. Joy Boy may have been the last leader of these people. A Luffy. Oh Novo. But every leader needs a catalyst, and Teach, vile as he is this catalyst. Blackbeard forces Luffy to grow up, overcoming limits, understanding the true responsibility of your freedom, and by keeping Teach alive, Shanks is ensuring that this process happens, not out of malice, but why without conflict? There is no liberation. The final war in Shanks' role, in the final moments of the work, when the final war against the world government takes place, the world will need one last push. Shanks could die, or you can sacrifice yourself. But most likely it is that he acts as the final messenger, the one who, at the right moment, reveals the whole truth. The truth about Nika fruit, the truth about the D, the truth about the lost century, and the truth about your role. Prepare the world for the end of the current era. Maybe he was never the hero, but it was always the trigger of the revolution, the last will in the end. What defines Oda's work is not just battles, powers, or alliances, it is the willing, the will of D, the will to live free, laughing, to challenge, to protect. Shanks understood that this desire cannot be controlled, she can only be respected when delivering the fruit to Luffy, by saving Teach, by not becoming Pirate King, even though he had the power to do so. Shanks accepted his role. He is neither the sun nor the shadow, and the wind that blows so that the storm begins. A man's choice. The greatest irony of One Piece. Maybe this: the man who saved the world was the one who released its two greatest dangers, and this man's name is Shanks, the guardian of the era, the architect of the revolution, the silent executor of D's will. Continues. What did you think of all this? Please state your opinion in the comments below. See you in the next video. Bye.